Survivor Season 41, Episode 5 recap coming your way. Let's get into it. Spoiler alert. All right, spoilers are coming in 3, 2, 1. Last time we saw JD get voted out, and JD, you did that to yourself. You gave Shan all your power in the game with the extra vote. The first part of this episode, we see snippets of each tribe at camp, and they're all talking about the advantage. Jeannie finds the advantage, and she says, I'm going to tell Shan and Ricard, and we're going to decide as a group how best to play it, which I'm thinking already, you're on the bottom. Why would you tell them? It's going to be the same thing that Brad had. You know it was a chance at an immunity. Why would you tell them? That doesn't really make any sense to me. Sure, if they knew it was the same thing and they hear you say the broccoli line, then they're going to know that you have an idol and it's activated, but you still have an idol. You play the idol, you guarantee yourself safety. So Jeannie, not sure what you were thinking, trusting Shan and Ricard, because those two are very sneaky. So they convince Jeannie to leave it on the island, and they go through. Shan takes the idol for herself, puts a decoy idol in there, and says the line at the immunity challenge so that it could be activated later on. Meanwhile, Danny's talking about throwing challenges, and Nasir's like, no, I don't want to do that. And then on the yellow tribe, Tiffany's a little paranoid about Evie because Evie is too close to Xander. So Tiffany is starting to show a little bit. There was actually a nice redemption for Tiffany in this episode. She played Xander pretty good because he got caught in a lie and she got it out of him. Like, he told her that he had just found the idol, but he had it in his pocket a long time ago, and she sniffed that right out of him. So Tiffany, good on you for that. Doesn't really mean much. Sure, you got info, but he told you anyway. So, I don't know. We get to the immunity challenge. Shan says her broccoli line. Xander says his butterfly line. Could it be? Nasir comes out of nowhere and says, I'm as confused as a goat on AstroTurf. Bing, bada, boom. The idols are now activated. Finally, we can put this dumb twist to rest. 3 idols are now fully intact and into the game. Now it can start to get interesting. The immunity challenge, it's a cargo net. They got to jump over it, detangle some ropes, and then throw some coconuts on a slingshot. Really wasn't a close challenge at all. Blue dominated, took first place yet again for the 5th or 6th straight time. And then yellow took second. So that means poor green, the Yua tribe, the tribe that we've only seen pretty much this entire season, is going back to tribal. That means Jeannie, Shan, or Ricard are going home. But before we get a glimpse into their strategy, Jeff says, all right, yellow tribe, send 2 people to an island so that they can discuss the prisoner's dilemma. So they decide to send Shan, and I'm like, of course, the golden child, Shan, let's give her more power in the game. And then yellow decides, Leanna, I'm going to go in. Yeah, send Leanna. So they take this time, and it was a nice moment because they were showing how these were 2 women of color, showing how that they can stick together, that they need to stick together and form an alliance when the tribes do merge, and that how they have their backs. The only thing that really bothered me was that this entire showcase, it was a nice moment for both women of color. They entirely focused on Shan, which is a foreshadow, I'm assuming, to Shan's ultimate victory this season. Why else would you show? I mean, I understand Shan had a story about her mother and how she just passed away. It was really a touching moment, how she was able to bond with Leanna about that, how she hadn't been able to do that with anyone on the island thus far. But Leanna got no screen time. Leanna's got a story too. She deserves to be there too. Shan got like 5 confessionals in a row. They were telling it entirely from Shan's perspective. And then Leanna at the end gets a little glimpse about how she's going to risk her vote and Shan's going to play it safe because She can't afford to lose her vote because it's a tribe of 3. So Leanna's going to have the extra vote, essentially. But in Survivor production, they throw another wrench in the plans, and it's not an extra vote that Leanna wins. Instead, it is the dumbest advantage I have ever seen in my entire life. I hate this advantage. I hate it so much. I hate to be negative like this, but let me talk to you about this knowledge is power advantage. The way I interpret it, and this is still fresh in my mind, I just watched the episode, is essentially she can ask one person, one time in the entire game, a question. Do you have an advantage or an idol? If that person cannot lie, she gets to steal their reward. And now they're saying, well, Xander hasn't told me about this idol. I'm going to ask Xander this question so that I can steal his advantage. So Xander just went through all this work, risked his butt, didn't have a vote for 4 tribals because of this stupid other advantage where he loses a vote because he found an idol. And now he's going to be penalized for playing the game. His advantage is just going to be stolen from him for an advantage that he doesn't even know is in existence in the game. This is the first time Survivor's ever pulled an advantage like this. How is he supposed to know that he can't lie in a situation like that? It's so dumb. It's so powerful. It's so stupid. It's just so stupid. It doesn't allow for gameplay at all. It makes no sense to me. I hate it. It's so stupid. It is, and maybe I'm construing this incorrectly. It's really hard to tell. Survivor production, I'm sorry, but the explanation of how these advantages work is so confusing. It's not clear at all to the viewers. Like, we're here wondering, like, oh, can multiple people throw their dice? Like, there's so many new advantages. We don't know how they work. And you're just throwing more and more at us. It's overload at this point. Jeff, please take a step back. I'm not a fan of this one, guys. I'm not a fan. Anyway, we get back to the Green Tribe. Now the strategy talks go in. Shan was off at the other island. She chose to protect her vote, so she's going to keep her vote. No advantage. But during this time, Jeannie and Ricard were able to strategize and talk a little bit. And then when Shan gets back, she essentially says, I'm going to pull each one of you aside, pitch my case. And at this point, Shan goes to Ricard and goes, I need you to give me my extra vote back. It's the only way I can trust you. And Ricard's like, I told you to do the same exact thing to JD, and then we voted JD out. You think I'm stupid? Like, I'm proud of Ricard for holding his ground there, for saying no to Shan, because Shan was trying to bully him a little bit into giving that. She was playing the guilt trip. She was like, well, I worked for this and I deserve my advantage back. Well, if you really deserved it, you shouldn't have gave it away in the first place. Ricard deserved it because he was able to get it from you. So live by that, Shan. Don't be mad when things don't go your way. So Ricard stands his ground. He says, I'm going to give it back to you after this vote, which he should. He shouldn't be like JD. There's no point in him giving it, because the extra vote is the only reason keeping him in. If he gives that away, Shan's just going to vote him out. He's dispensable at that point. He's only safe because he has that extra vote. Shan doesn't want to get rid of that extra vote. She's greedy. She wants all the advantages. She has already got an idol. She wants that extra vote back too. So we get to the vote, and the production, they really did a good job about keeping us on our toes, seeing who would be voted out. And it wasn't really a surprise. Jeannie ended up getting voted out. She didn't play her shot in the dark dice. It's tough when there's only 3 people left, because you really are risking it to lose your vote to throw the shot in the dark. But hear me out. Let's say Jeannie rolls the dice. If she truly believed that Ricard was voting with her, that would be 1 vote for Shan. Shan would vote for Jeannie. It would be 1-1. If Jeannie rolls the dice and it's success, then Shan's going home. If Jeannie rolls the dice and it's a failure, then it's a revote. And Ricard is the only person to vote because Shan and Jeannie have one vote apiece, in which Ricard could do a power move right now and get rid of Shan, get rid of that idol. I also thought it would have been an interesting play had Ricard voted one vote on Shan, one vote on Jeannie, and convinced Jeannie to vote for Shan, because then they would have had 2 votes each. Revote, Ricard would have had the power, the only vote remaining at that point. But Jeannie voted for Ricard, so it wouldn't have worked out. All right, after this episode, power rankings. I'm going to mix it up a little bit this week because they don't show anything of the Blue Tribe, really. It's pretty much just Danny, Deshawn, and Nasir. The 3 girls on the Blue Tribe, Sydney gets a little bit of time. Erica and Heather get no time whatsoever. So I'm going to kick Heather out of the power rankings. I kind of had her in there as a GOAT to begin with, but I'm really thinking that she doesn't really deserve that spot at this point. I'm going to put Shan as number 1, keep her at number 1. The entire episode was Shan. She had that entire backstory where it was her and Leanna. She got all the airtime. I know it seems crazy because she's on a tribe of 2, and you would think that when the tribes merge, she would be the first to go, but that's not going to be the case. She has an idol. She's got like deadlocked alliance with Ricard, and she just set something up with Leanna too, who has an extra, not an extra vote. Sorry, she's got this ridiculous challenge advantage where she can steal an advantage. So stupid. So Shan is locked in number 1. Number 2, I'm going to put Evie. Keep Evie there. They keep showing Evie even though there's not much else going on at the Yellow Tribe. I think she's in a good position. Number 3, I would put Leanna, but they gave her no airtime. It was all Shan. I think this steal advantage is going to end up being a flop. I at least hope it's going to be a flop. I'm going to put Nasir. I don't think he necessarily has the game plan to go super far, but he does have this idol. He's really good at challenges. He's a workhorse. Hopefully he can just muster his way to the top 3. So I'm putting Nasir as number 3 power ranking. Scenes from next time on Survivor Season 41. Merge? Not quite. What does that mean? It's a new twist. First time that we're not doing a traditional merge. It's like we like the twists when they end up being good, and we hate them when they end up being bad. For the most part this season, I gotta admit, I think they've been bad. I'm trying to stay positive, guys, but between that lose a vote, beware advantage and Leanna's super steal an advantage, those are just wild, insane, stupid. So I'm hoping it doesn't end up being some wacky merge type situation. Game within the game, we got a little bit of an excerpt, a scenario from next episode, and Jeff pretty much says, if you have the opportunity to send someone to Exile Island, and as soon as I hear him say Exile Island, I'm like, ugh. Can't we just have a traditional gameplay, just like let them duke it out with the knowledge that's already circulating out there? Why do we have to keep throwing? Because you know what's happening. The more you throw into it, the less gameplay there actually is. It's tough. It's like how do you know how to play the game when they're adding new stuff that you don't know about? It irks me. It irks me. You send an ally or an adversary to Exile Island, essentially send them to try and get an advantage, or send an enemy, try and get them away. The way that this season's going, I mean, these advantages can really kill you or be killer. As we've seen with Brad, who had 2 advantages who he couldn't even use. He risked it for the biscuit. It didn't end up working out. Jeannie should have just used it. Jeannie knew she was on the outs. If she had just done it and hoped that someone from the blue found it, she would have had the idol, and then she could have played it had they, not gone to tribal. Had they gone to tribal, and she would have been good. It was all dependent on the blue tribe, which I get. It's so dumb. If in any other season, Jeannie would have found that and she would have been safe, and Ricard would have probably been going home. But that's why it's just season 41. Drop the 4, keep the 1. No. This isn't really Survivor, guys. This is like a Survivor adjacent. The core mechanics are there, but they're mixed. They're twisting this up, and I don't know if it's for the best. I still love it, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm still loving it. I'm still tuning in every week. I would not send an ally there. I think any time away from camp is dangerous. So that's how I'd answer that situation. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Jeff said it's a big episode next week. So a big reaction coming your way next week. Until then, guys, I'm Jago Ateko. Woo!